Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and.
Jay, and you sound tired.
Oh
You
no,
sound tired.
I'm sick.
Yeah, are you sick? Okay. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
sound your bubbly self. Anyways, we've got everything done on Twitter or X.
Yay! Good stuff. Yeah, sorry everyone. I woke up this morning. Well, I went to bed last night with a runny nose, a bit of a cold, so that's why I'm a bit blah this morning. But hopefully today is the day my witch's brew will kick in and give me the energy I need for the day.
That sounds like something that might get you on a steak with some fire later when you talk like that. But the witch's brew is going to get you all back to your health.
Yeah, it's
But you look good, but you don't sound your best.
No. I did not sleep very well, and yeah, when you're trying not to snore when your sinuses are blocked, it kind of keeps you awake as you're trying to make sure you sleep upright in a position where your nose doesn't clog and you're not going to be snoring away in your husband's ear.
One little guy here. See, I got maverick hair. It's like, I'm going to do whatever I want. But good morning. Nice to see everybody back. So we're back.
Yeah.
So we had a little, not even a day off. I was up really early yesterday getting things ready for my meeting. And you were busy as well.
Yeah.
So we didn't do the show. People missed.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we're back. We're back with Mitch Sylvester and Rachel Parker today.
Yeah.
And what timing again? We keep booking people, and then
Yeah.
something happens the day before, or a couple of days before, and they become the perfect guest. So maybe we need to get Trump. We got to get Trump on the show or something.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that'll really help the anti-51st staters put them at ease. No, but but no, yeah, I think I'm very pleased that we have the two guests we have coming on today because there's a finger on the pulse for a lot of stuff going on in Alberta, and Mitch is certainly at the forefront of it, and Rachel is a great commentator to it as well.
Yep, looking forward to it as well. So yeah, we got a few things to catch up on. So how's the Martin update? Is there much to do? It's getting warm here.
Yeah, we're in our warm spell. I'm going to be doing laundry this morning because I guarantee the pipes won't be frozen. No, things are going fine for us. Wood stove's going to be off for the next couple of days because we have plus temperatures instead of like -10 and below. So yeah, no, all is good on our end. Preparing for a bit of a melt, and then it's so crazy. We're going to go from like +3 tomorrow, I believe, to -23 like by Friday night, and then it warms up again. So there's going to be a flash freeze going on for us after the melt, and then warmer temperatures. So hopefully no more. I don't know. Is spring on the way? It's still but I don't know. I don't know what was it Puxatony Phil and whatever the Canadian version is said that we were going to be getting with regards to the extra weeks of winter or not. So I don't know what their prediction was. But
great job on holding that space for me while I was getting something.
Oh,
ready.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Segue. But yeah, I'm very curious. But so far, it's looking like winter is kind of taking its time and moving out, but it's being very mild as it does so.
Excellent. And what I wanted to do is take a little bit of time to share all the locations for the tour that we're working on.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've been really busy on the last couple of weeks since I got back. This doesn't stop around here. But if you go to supportsean.ca, you'll see the list. It's growing daily. There'll probably be a couple more in the next couple of days as well. But Thursday, I'm going to be in White Court for 2 showings, 6 p.m. and 7:30. We'll be actually starting the movies at 6:30 and 8. But come and arrive early, get yourself a seat in White Court. Grand Prairie, going to be there Friday, 6 p.m. Open the doors. It's going to be the movie and some speakers about their experiences. The Grand Prairie is going to be a really nice setup. Then Monday, we're in Muir, Alberta at 6 p.m. at the community hall. Chris Scott will be joining me there. We'll be in Devon on the 5th of March, so Thursday. So if you're in the Devon, Leduc area, come check us out. Drayton Valley on the 7th. Devon. Oh, there is. So Edson on the 6th. This will be a nice Friday night. Come check that out at 7 p.m. as well. And then Drayton Valley, nice early Saturday morning showing. It's 9:30 Saturday morning at the Landmark Cinema. So we'll be in the actual theater in Drayton Valley. Stony Plain without the E. 2 showings there, 6 p.m., 7:30 p.m. At the Red Brick Common, Thursday, March 10th. Calgary, this is going to be a really big one. March 16th on a Monday at Habibi's Banquet Hall. 6 p.m. Come hang out with us. Chris Scott will be there as well. And also Dr. Hodgkinson at Devon, Edson, Stony Plain, and then later Edmonton as it comes up here now. Edmonton, March 21st. This is a Saturday at the Landmark Cinema, downtown Edmonton City Center. We have Dr. Hodgkinson with me as well at 9:30 a.m. The Saturday ones are 9:30 a.m. Just track of that. And then there's a bunch in Ottawa. So if you're in Ontario, there's a bunch in Ontario. So if you're in Ontario, there's Ottawa, Kitchener, and London. Ottawa, March 23rd, Kitchener, March 27th, and London, March 31st. And I will be adding more. Cold Lake, we're working on that now. It looks like Lethbridge is going to come together and Medicine Hat. So there's a lot of locations coming out. So it's going to be a busy month.
Yeah, good for you at getting all of those bookings done and making sure that we can get this documentary that you've worked so hard on, you and Dean and of course Dan supporting it out to Albertans. So good job.
Thank you. And for this round of tours, there's no tickets. So we really want people to show up. So free admission, donations are welcome. It is an all ages movie. There's nothing in there that's gore or anything like that. The closest we come is the pictures from the hospital.
For Shauna.
Yeah. Well, not Shauna. It's Abigail or
Aubryn, yeah.
Yeah. But it's all ages. Bring a friend and make sure you get there. Let's fill these places up and share the message of Sean Hartman. What Dan's fighting for, and the legal and the medical, and every single day there's another study coming out that supports what happened to Sean. Yes, young boys, young men were specifically affected with their hearts, and this study out of Israel that's confirmed this. Like 1 out of 1,000 would get it and die. So 1 out of 1,000,000 anymore. So 1,000 times more likely. But in either case, come check it out, and there will be more. So stay tuned to supportsean.ca. Find another location near you. We're now starting to work on BC, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. For those people out there, don't worry. We know you want to see it as well. So we're doing our best there. So stay tuned.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And for those who aren't interested in someone's story, at least be aware of the medical data that is coming out, because that to me was something I really took away. All these reports are medical professionals speaking out, and now they have the data to back up what they've been saying for years now. So I'm really pleased. I think that's the one thing you can also take away from this documentary.
And we're getting great feedback about the documentary. It's not propaganda, okay? So it's not anti or pro-vax. It shows both sides. It reminds everybody what the media was talking about and how things shifted and changed throughout. I think it's a fair portrayal of what's going on, but we're not trying to anger anybody or anything like that, although you'll find it quite emotional because we are dealing with the loss of a young man and also a needless loss of a young man.
Yep.
So, go ahead and bring a friend. We've had people that showed up who fully vaxxed, got all their boosters. They watch CBC, all that kind of stuff. And they're affected by it as well. Because frankly, anybody that watches CBC is open to hearing more things. Maybe they don't search for it, but if you bring them, they'll sit and watch. And usually they get impacted by this. So bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring a loved one. It's free. So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys at the showings coming up.
For sure. Look forward to seeing you there. And I know a couple of our locals members who've been members for a little while now. I already saw you guys got your tickets. So look forward to seeing you in Calgary. If I can make it. Otherwise, Jason will be there for sure.
Yeah, Calgary is going to be a good one. I can't confirm that one of the members of the movie will be there or not, but they're going to see if they can make it there. We're doing our best to bring speakers, so somebody to talk to, do some Q&As with. But you're coming for the documentary, and we may have some extra stuff for you.
Excellent.
All right, let's get into the news because it's a busy one again because we got a whole couple days to catch up on. Let me just put button. Go. All right, so Leighton Gray, you guys loved him.
Yeah.
The numbers are great for him. You guys love him. He'll be back more often for sure. We love him as well. There's a bunch of issues we didn't get into that I would like to, but stay tuned as we do that in the near future. All next week is going to be Well, 3 of the days next week are going to be pastors. It looks like we're lining them all up. Have conversations about the independence movements from the church perspective. And Dr. Wagner is coming back for Thursday, so we'll have him as well. Jump into more of the history and basically what is going on, because he was speaking at a church recently. And then Sheldon Yak Sack, I think he is on X. He ran for council in Calgary. He does a lot of stuff on X as well. He'll be joining us on for the rest of this week. Who do we have tomorrow now? Oh, yes, we have 3 great guests. So, number 1 bestseller, we'll just put this here for you.
Yeah.
Derek Smith. He reached number 1 on Amazon in Canada, of all of Canada. So, he'll be on tomorrow. We have Word Proud Dad, so Lawrence, and then a new friend of the show, Igor. These are all 3 guys who make posts online, various platforms, talking about the independence movement. So, we'll be talking to the 3 of them. And then Friday, we got our professor of law, Bruce Party. He's going to join us again. This is his first appearance since Danielle Smith's announcement for the referendum, and we're going to jump into the cold water on Friday to kind of remind everybody, things kind of got a little bit more complicated with this one. So let's go ahead and have that chat on Friday.
Yeah, and the heads up, there's a very good chance it's going to go to the full 2 hours again. So we'd recommend that, yes, you go like, subscribe, share out. And as well, if you'd like, go ahead to participate in the full episode. Go ahead and become a supporter of the show.
Excellent. So, I laid out some of the times for this going, but I can see we got one of our guests in the back will be with you in 13 minutes. No, 18 minutes. So we'll be with you in a bit. But one of them is about Mitch Sylvester, and he has released a video. So we got the video released about this person. We now understand, we believe we know who this person is, who walked into his store in Bonnyville and showed a bullet, what appeared to be a bullet, to a staff member and said, "This is for Mitch," and walked out past all the cameras and with a big smile on his face. This is an evolving situation, so I'm glad that Mitch is joining us today. I'm certainly we're going to get into this. But whether this is real bullet or not, no matter what, it wasn't left to be examined. This gentleman left the store, shook up the employees for sure. 2 of the employees there were shaken up by this. And this is, no matter what it is no matter what the object is, this is definitely a threat. So we'll talk to Mitch more about this because this is evolving. The RCMP are involved with this. I don't believe the case is closed. I believe they're still on the table here. So we'll get into that. But this is ridiculous. We're seeing more and more of this happen at canvassers. There's even a video of a gentleman jumping out of his vehicle, very angry, and it appears that he either assaulted or possibly even battered. So remember, assault means verbal, like you're not touching somebody. Batter means you touched them. So you can assault somebody without touching them. That's what that word means. So definitely did some assaulting, but possibly even further than that. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, people need to realize you can't get away with it. And I'm a strong believer in, whether we like it or not, the police are there, the laws are there, and let's try and utilize it, because they will try to use it against us. So you can't just walk in and say, "Hey, this is for so and so." Hey, if it was for so, leave it behind.
Yeah,
it's for them,
if
right?
It's a novelty thing or something
sure,
that's fun, leave it behind.
Leave it behind. It's a gift. That's why you came in, right?
Yeah.
So
anyways, that's evolving. I personally don't think the excuse given, probably get to in a bit here, is valid. It doesn't match the video. It looks like trying to cover their butt. But in either case, we'll have Mitch on shortly. Okay, so data from Israel reveals 1 in 400 or 940 adolescents with cardiac injuries within 6 weeks after the vaccine. The truth is coming out. Answers for Sean. So this is out of Israel. There's a Freedom of Information request, it appears. But yeah, exactly what I just said there. 1 in 940 people, young adolescents, received an injury within the first 6 weeks of taking a vaccine, and it's related to cardiac injuries. So we knew this. Everybody knew this.
yes, unfortunately.
But now there's more and more information coming out. Now it looks like they knew about it sooner. They knew about it in June 2021. didn't
I would
release it
believe,
publicly.
yeah, I'd believe that because Israel was really at the forefront of vaccinating their population. So I'm not surprised that they would have also been at the forefront of getting this information firsthand.
For sure. And I think that's why this is coming out of there, because they were some of the first, and they got some of the hot doses in the first batches, all that kind of stuff. So keep the information coming.
Yeah.
But Sean, we know why Sean passed away. It's in the documentary. There's an autopsy. Dr. McCullough was very clear. So yeah, I'm glad for Dan that more information is coming out, especially with his trials. Potentially the Health Canada trial could be back on the table if that appeal works out. But we'll keep an eye on that. So here's a little bit of fun. So you can't see this if you're listening to the podcast, but I put a little image together because Jack, a good friend of Jack, says, there's somebody out there right now that every time your name comes up, they just get upset, royally upset. It just ruins their whole day. Keep doing you. And I thought, yep, absolutely. I have an anti-fan club for sure. I put together this little image here that says Jason Levine sucks, Levine lies. These are the common things I see online. Liberal rights are human rights and identify as sane. You're just shaking your head.
For those on the podcast, I am shaking my head.
Yeah. But when you get an anti-fan club, you're pushing the right buttons. Keep it up. Congratulations to Derek. Got up to #1 on bestsellers in all of Canada. He'll be on tomorrow. We'll get into that some more. Just kind of announcing here the three of them joining us. And here's another example. Karima Assad, she's in Toronto area. She's a lawyer / journalist doing great work. And here she is. She's just trying to film a lineup at a Carney event. And you got some crazy guy running after her with his camera. Like, I'm not sure, and people laughing about it. I'm not sure why they're acting so nutty bar when a journalist is there, just filming what they're doing, which is lining up for Carney. But elbows up. He had his elbows up. You see him run at her. He's got his elbows up. Just I don't know. There's something wrong.
Yeah, it's so weird. And he's smiling, he's laughing as he's charging at her, and it's like, just stay in line, dude.
Yeah, man.
Just
why does Alberta want to leave this? Like, who knows? Look at all the red they're wearing too. Like, there's no Alberta blue in that crowd. Yeah, no kidding. Time to get out. Speaking of getting out, Quebec just took another big step in that direction. So a couple days ago, the Parti Québécois just won their 4th by-election in a row. So this is 4 times now a seat came up and they took it. Keep in mind, Parti Québécois, their promise is to bring a referendum for separation forward. So when they are supporting this party at this stage, that's exactly what they're supporting. But now increased their seats. I think it's up to 7 or so now, which is fantastic when you're looking for sovereignty. So I just listed off here that 2026 may be the year Canada will no longer be the last year Canada will be the Canada we grew up in. A lot of people push back on that line saying, no, it was 2015. It was even sooner. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Geographically, like things are going to change possibly. So October 5th, 2026 is the Quebec provincial election. Parti Québécois is running on a promise to hold a referendum on secession. And October 19th, 2026, Alberta referendum, Stay Free Alberta's petition, if successful, will add a secession question to the referendum. Yes. Pretty sure we're going to see that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we're going to see that. So no matter where you are in Canada,
change is coming.
Change is coming. Yeah, you're probably no more than 1 day's drive from a border that may be international now in the near future. But yeah, change is coming. But here's one thing that I found interesting. Nobody's calling Quebec traitors.
No, of course not. So weird.
It's only Alberta that's the traitor, right?
So weird, the love for Quebec.
And nobody's saying to them, you can't leave. We won't let you leave. It's fun. This is fun. It's a great time to be alive. Jason Kenney is doing what Jason Kenney does best, which is virtue signal. So he's taking a stab at the referendum he's calling separation, it's secession or independence, because Danielle Smith has made the announcement that if the petition is successful with the signatures, it will be on the October 19th, 2026 referendum date, along with a bunch of other questions as we've been covering. But here's where he's trying to stoke a fire, which isn't honest, is the First Nations and the industries in Alberta. There's there's decades of harmony that was created that's going to be undermined, according to him. Well, here's some Stat Canada information for you there, Mr. Kenny. The life expectancy of a First Nation baby born today is about 10 years less than non-First Nations. Jason Kenny calls this harmony. This is Stats Canada. It's well known. It's been as high as 20 years for adult males. But right now, a baby born today is expected to live a decade less than everybody else. And Jason Kenny calls this harmony. All over the X today, I saw many people posting that they are First Nations and they're voting to leave. They signed the
Fantastic.
petition. They want a new deal. They don't like what the racist system they're under right now, the oppressive system that keeps them suppressed. They don't want it. They're always been awake to it. It's just the top guys that get on the TV in the mainstream or legacy media that try to chant a different narrative.
No, that's fantastic. Have your voice heard, share it, because it'll reassure someone else to speak out too.
Yep. So yeah, and I got a request from a couple people online that says, "Hey Jay, if you can take your conversation to some First Nations." And yes, absolutely. I pass that around to some people that are doing tours right now to see if they have time for that. And I certainly will be picking it up after I'm finished with the touring of the movie documentary. I will be looking at other locations. And for sure, when I was a PBC candidate, that's exactly what I did. I went and sat down and spoke to a former chief of Enoch. Very insightful conversation. And I'd love to have more conversations at that level. Actually, well, I even asked Mitch when he jumps on if he has any in the plan so far to go visit some First Nation locations. So this is going to be a good one to tune into. Okay? And yes, I'm working on a new thumbnail because AI made us all look a little bit different. Does that look like your husband?
No.
No. Nobody thinks it looks like them. So I'm working on another one. But the gender rights conversation. So during the Fundamental Truth Q&A back in Red Deer, this kind of just popped up. It was a question about who has the rights. Is it the parents? Is it the child? Is it the government? Should the government interfere? So who decides for children was the conversation. And we had two sides on that panel of the Q&A giving their opinions. Bruce Party's like, keep the government out. John Buckley's warning that if you have the government in, it's not going to turn out the way you think it is or would. Mia is pushing for some intervention because it's just insane what's happening to children. Body parts are being chopped off. And Leighton Gray basically says, stop messing around with the innocence of children. This is where we need to draw a line, and we got to protect children no matter what. So it's going to be a great panel coming together. And Melanie Bennett from Juno News, a refugee, somebody who woke up because of sexualization of children in the schools, so she's no longer a lefty, will be joining me as a co-host on this one. And I'm really looking forward to this. So this will be Saturday, 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern, February 28th. So coming up this Saturday. So tune into all of our platforms. Do it all at once. Get us the numbers, but tune in to check it out. And yes, it is recorded, so it will be available for replay immediately after. But yeah, try and tune into this one. I don't know if we'll be able to take questions or not, because this will be quite the conversation for 2 hours. But I'm looking forward to this. We promised in Red Deer to continue this conversation, and all four of them have made some time. So join us for that one. It'll be good. And then we launched a few more locations. So Calgary, we're coming to see you there. Then here's up. Okay, so back to the Mitch Sylvester Bullet Gate, we'll call it. Bullet Gate. So the gentleman released a video claiming that it wasn't an actual bullet, it was a pen. You can see here in this video, this is what he released. So you can see that you can take the top off and it's just a pen. And he's saying, oh, it's just a misunderstanding, Frankly, if this was the case, you just leave it.
Yeah, why didn't you leave your pen behind?
Yeah, if it was for Mitch to have a new funky little pen, novelty pen, then leave it for sure. But a zoomed in picture of what was actually in his hand in the shop doesn't look like that item at all to me. The top, very different. This does look like a lead bullet at the top. It's not pointed at all. If you see, it's kind of more blunt. And then the one in here is very pointy. Some more details here that I share up here. I'll get to right now. This was an update yesterday. The man in the video has now come forward and provided the following video to explain what he brought to Mitch Sylvester's store. The information I've received includes he avoided calls from the RCMP for several weeks. I think it's up to even a month that the RCMP knew who he was, but he wasn't responding. He left the store with the item, so he didn't leave it behind for anybody to take a look at. He claimed it was just a misunderstanding. The RCMP still has an open investigation. Charges should still be filed, and there was one item, not two, as previously reported by me. I said two items. It was one. A further examination, my error there. And then I continue here. If this was in fact the item he brought into the store along with his "This is for Mitch" message, this is hands down the dumbest thing anyone can do to the employees of the store and to Mitch directly. There's still an active investigation as showing off a bullet or a pen that it looks like a bullet, uttering a threat and not responding to RCMP for weeks is still grounds for a criminal charges. And thank you to the dozens of people who did recognize the man and provided tips. So the RCMP figured out who it was pretty quickly, but didn't release that information. But the internet found him pretty quick. Like, people, if you're going to do dumb things, not in 2026. Came forward. We know where he works, where his employer is, all this stuff. I'm not releasing that information because we're not the side that doxes or causes problems for employment. The police are involved. They're going to deal with it. But many people are not buying the story. They're like, check his Amazon history, because you can buy these on Amazon. When did he order on Amazon? Because it looks like, to some people, and myself included, that he might be trying to cover up his mistake. Either case, it doesn't matter if it was a real bullet or not. The perception that was created, the fear that it created is real.
Yeah.
And if it was a gift, leave it behind. This does not look like the item that's being displayed here at all. It looks like a good attempt to, but not the same to me. As we move along here, so two more stops in Edson and Edmonton. Very pleased about that. And do reserve your seat. Like, you don't have to pay for it, but reserve it, because the reserved seats go first. And if it fills up, I apologize. Ontario, 5 out of the 6 locations were full. We had to add a second screening in Hamilton. So people do want to come see this. So do reserve your seat to ensure that you get one. Otherwise, if you show up at the door and there's room, you'll be welcomed in. And we'll deal with that. And some of the smaller locations, we're doing the 2 screenings. So you can pick your 6 and 7:30 and join us at those times. All right. So CBC, hilarious, posted nearly 80% of Canadians oppose the idea of Alberta leaving the nation, says polling. And what are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to make it seem like a majority of people don't want it. 2 things here.
However,
we don't care, Canada. Okay, you don't get a vote. But here's where I think these people don't think ahead a little bit here. My post here is, this is not a dunk. The dunk CBC thinks it is. Alberta makes up 12% of Canada's population at 5 million. With 20% support in Canada, there's about 8 million people who thinks Alberta should leave. These are likely the highest numbers ever reached. So 8 million people in this country, whether you're in Alberta or not, obviously you're not all in Alberta, but 8 million people in this country think it's time for Alberta to go ahead and do its own thing. That's a significant amount of people.
It is a significant amount.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is a significant. That's why, yes, exactly. It's 80% don't want it. However, what about the 20%? And then what are the numbers for 20%?
Yeah, a lot of those don't live in Alberta, that's for sure. So look, maybe some of you guys should move here by October.
The Yuma crowd come back up to Alberta. But
yeah, CBC does this kind of thing. They're trying to throw some cold water on it, and this one, in my opinion, doesn't work because that shows 8 million Canadians think it's time for them to go. And we saw this when we traveled Canada. There's a lot of support over Canada for this. So let's go ahead and end this and bring in the man himself. I'm really excited to have Mitch back. It looks like he's all ready to go. Morning, Mitch. How are you today?
Good morning, Aria. I'm ready to go for a change. I'm not running into my truck to try and get cell service or anything like that. It's been interesting trying to get hooked up in hotel rooms and all that manner of stuff. But I'm in Edmonton tonight. I did something last night. But yeah, you were talking about our bullet thing. It's very interesting.
It's kind of hard to get going.
So the RCMP were there yesterday, and they brought that fake bullet into the store. and showed it to the girls behind the counter. And there's absolutely no doubt that wasn't it. Like the girls said, never. I'm a hunter. I've been selling ammo for years. I know what a bullet looks like. That's a real bullet. This one isn't. This is a toy.
Mhm.
So at any rate, it doesn't matter. The courts are going to handle it, and that's going to be what we're going to do with all people that are going to try to abuse us in any way.
Good.
We're actually got pictures of canvasser abuse, and we're going to start posting them one at a time and saying, hey, do you know these people? And if you know these people and they're belligerent, and we'll just hand them over to the police, and we've got a file, and we're going to continue to do that, as we continue to assault our people.
Okay, and that's great news, because if anything happens to any canvassers, report it. You guys keep in a file. But at this stage, whether it's real or not, the fear was real that was created in your employees. You had 2 staff there that had to respond to this.
Well, and it was serious enough that the one girl was scared to go home to her place that night. She lived by herself, the other lady actually talked about quitting, thinking that she didn't want to have to deal with that kind of nonsense. And they're both great employees and would be missed by the store, seriously. But thankfully, they've both decided to stay.
That's fantastic, and I'm glad that you guys are working directly with them, because you need a safe space and you need to be treated with respect, and this was definitely not respect. No matter what item he was holding in his hands, the fear is real and the concerns are real. Good morning, Rachel. Nice to see you. Can you hear us? Sometimes there's a bug in it.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Am I
Morning.
coming through good?
Good morning, Rachel.
Excellent. So you've been following this story of the this is for Mitch. I'm calling it Bullet Gate now. Have you been following the story?
I have been following it. Bullet Gate, yeah, that's probably a pretty good way of putting it. I like that.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts? Like, whether it was a toy or a pen or a real bullet, it went in there, didn't leave it behind, so it can't be examined after, scared a couple of people, and left, and wasn't responsive when the RCMP were trying to contact this person. So what do you think that this means? Are we going to start seeing escalation? Is this just a stupid one-off? What are your thoughts when it comes to the safety of canvassers and people involved in a legal democratic process?
Yeah, I think this situation with Bullet Gate, as we're calling it now, is probably a one-off. I don't think we're going to see too many other individuals walk into, Mitch Sylvester's sports store and put a bullet on the counter. It's obviously very scary that it happened, very unfortunate. I know this individual is, I think, now trying to pretend that it was a pen, which is funny because, Mitch isn't in the business of selling guns. So I think they would probably know what a bullet looks like at his store. And so I think that was probably like a one-off. And I think this guy is already backtracking hard as to what he did, because he really messed up and maybe he just thought he was going to get away with it. I'm not, I don't know what goes through lunatics' brains. Can't really relate with that. But we are definitely seeing an escalation of intimidation of canvassers. And I think that we will continue to see that. If you are following any canvassers on X, Marty up North is a really good example. Like, he's been showing some of the problems that he's been having. And I think that's why we're seeing, Stay Free Alberta be really clear with their messaging that you cannot interrupt this democratic process to collect signatures to trigger a referendum. And if you do so, you risk being fined $25,000. Yesterday, Marty was out canvassing, as he does most days, and a lady decided to park her vehicle basically horizontally across the street so that people couldn't get by either way. And when he approached her, I'm so sorry, my car's not working. And he said, this is going to be a $25,000 fine if you're found guilty of impeding this process. And, the video cut off from there, but from what he posted, it sounds like she was pretty quick to move after that. And so I think there's just a lack of information to people who disagree with protests as to what they're actually able to do. And certainly inhibiting the signature collection efforts is not one of the things they're allowed to do. So I think as long as canvassers are really aware of their rights, are able to warn those who are coming to impede this process what the ramifications will be, then we can, pick things up and get things moving along. And yes, as for Bullet Gate, I am hopeful that it is sort of a one-off throughout this process.
Well, it can now become the example that they all point to, and maybe they don't do it
Yeah.
anymore. So Mitch, what we saw when Calgary as a fire alarm got pulled, getting a bullet gate, you can now have people blocking the streets or the entrance to the canvassers. What's your message to anybody else who's watching and maybe thinking of doing something silly to scare, intimidate? They even said they're taking pictures of people in the lineup to try and expose them all later. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. And before I throw it to you, they wouldn't be doing this if they think we're going to lose. If they thought that this was a nothing burger and nothing's going to come from it, do you really think they'd be stepping forward like this and putting themselves at criminal risk?
I don't think so. But the whole purpose of really exposing this is so people out there understand. Look, we're not going to take it. I'm definitely not going to take it for sure. This gentleman had never met me before, by the way. I don't know what possessed him to think that I would want a pen for a gift, especially a bullet-shaped pen when I own a store full of bullets. But the whole thing is that it's totally ridiculous. He's the second guy that I'm charging. We got another guy that sent a threat to my MLA's office through Scott Sears' office, and actually the RCMP were able to track him back to his house, and he's going to court. So and this guy will as well. We'll let the judges decide. The whole problem with this whole situation is that people are trying to intimidate people and expecting us not to do anything about it. We're actually going to post the faces of every single one of these people that did stuff up to this point, that we have their pictures, and we're going to chase them down. We're going to charge them. I already made up my mind. We're going to get every single case. So if people want to take a chance on it, by all means, go ahead. Our docket is already quite full, and we're going to literally chase them down, every single one. And I'm going to tell you what, that system we've been using in our store for years. It's almost impossible to get away with shoplifting in our store. Our cameras are very, very high quality. If we catch them going out the door, we just post the face on Facebook and say, hey, these people steal from us, or whatever they do. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing out there with the new phones. And we're going to start today, actually. We're going to start posting pictures of people that have done this kind of stuff. And we're going to stop it dead cold in its tracks. We'll bring it to EA once we know who they are, and we'll get them charged. And if you've done that, well, good on you. You're going to be looking at talking to the police and a fine, a big fine.
Yeah, now we'll start seeing some fundraising for the criminal charges, defenses, as they do this kind of stupidness. So great. Thank you very much for highlighting that you're taking this seriously. You're taking names, and you're going to counter it with providing information to the public. Have you seen anything at any of your events? You've done over 100 of these recently. Have you seen anything at your events along these lines, or are they just?
No, actually, the events have been pretty peaceful for the most part. You know what? We haven't had any protests really up until just a little while ago. We've had 2 or 3 Aboriginal protests, and you know what? We talked to the people involved, and you know what? Actually made some really good contacts at several of them for people that agree with us that this may be the best opportunity for them to make change in 100 years. So I'm happy about that. I don't think that they're very peaceful, very well done. The one I'm highlighting is the one in Saddle Lake, where they had 50 people outside the hall, and I actually got out of my truck with my bags and walked into the circle, and asked to speak to the chief, and she responded. She said that she would speak with me, and so we went and had a private conversation in the hall for 25 minutes, and it was a good conversation for both sides. So she was happy with it, and we're looking forward to the next one, actually.
Excellent.
That is great news, and of course you would. You're there to share your information and your messages, so of course you would go speak to anybody that's willing to have a conversation with you. So keep that up. So Rachel, as you're seeing this unfold, same question for you: would they be stepping forward if they didn't think it's going to go forward? Like, if they thought this is nothing, like, why take these kind of risks, even just leaving your vehicle in the middle of the road?
I mean, why take these kind of risks is a great question. I think that there's some people out there who really struggle with emotional regulation, aren't really sure what to do with the feelings that they have. And when someone is working on something that they disagree with, they don't know how to voice that in a respectful manner. I think we definitely are seeing an escalation of that in our society. But yeah, of course, I think everyone knows we're going to get the required number of signatures that we need. People have seen the videos online of the crowds coming out to the events in the very early days, just massive crowds in places like Edmonton, where you wouldn't even have expected there to be a lot of support for an independent Alberta. So you're 100% correct that the people who are watching this, they know that we're going to get the number of signatures required. I think the question is more of how many more signatures over the threshold are we going to need to get? Are we going to get somewhere, in the 400,000 rate, 500,000, closer to 1 million? That is the only thing that is really left to be determined in my estimation. And then of course we'll have to change to a referendum campaign, which will be a campaign of a different style. So yeah, I think that is part of what we're seeing for sure. And even if, I think that's probably pretty much what it is they know we're going to get the signatures that we need, and makes them angry, and they feel like they have to get out there and do something to try to stop it.
Yeah, excellent. And I'm on the same page as that. I think all that matters now is how many signatures to send a bigger message to everybody. I don't want to jinx anything, but if we can beat Lusakic, that's going to be a really big message. And if you can get to Mitch's millions, as Paula calls it, I think that would be an incredibly large message. Mitch, just before we had you on, I shared that CBC article where there's 80%, the way they framed it is 80% against, but that's 8 million for across Canada at 20% of Canadians that are for it, 8 million for Alberta separating. That's a large number. I don't think it's ever been that high in Canadian history or any province.
Well, actually, it's 8.5 million or more. So we don't want to discount that 500,000 because we would take them to sign our petition, absolutely. But I think I think people are understanding what's going on in government. I think our federal government is passing laws that are absolutely ridiculous. And while we're talking about that, we're talking about C9, which is the hate group bill, and I honestly am flabbergasted that this bill is out there. I'm flabbergasted at two things. I'm also flabbergasted that the Conservative Party of Canada, all of the MPs that represent Alberta voted for this. So actually they're talking, they're literally saying that as far as they're concerned, it's okay that reading the Bible will be actually considered hate. And where are these people? They don't represent Alberta. I'm very curious. I'd like to have a conversation with Shannon Stubbs in public, my MP, and actually ask her whatever gave you the idea that people in your constituency would support this, and why would you vote against this? What's going on with the Conservative Party of Canada? They feel that strongly worded letters are enough to avert this kind of nonsense, and this has been going on since COVID. They better start talking to their constituents because they're going to have to be replaced if they continue to behave the way they're replacing. But apparently replacing an MP in the CPC is very, very difficult to do. So what I'm seeing going on out there is a bunch of people that are voting to going along to get along and actually selling the country down the river.
Yeah, when they're not happy enough or they don't get enough power, they cross the floor. So there's been 3 of them now, including one in Edmonton.
Well, and an Alberta MP crossing the floor is very interesting. How is that possible? I mean, it's not different than anywhere else, but this is a very conservative province. So the other thing that's happening to C9, and I want to highlight, is we're finally going to see churches speaking out from the pulpit on this, all churches, because what they're talking about is they're targeting all religion. And there's a group that I'll give them a shout out if I can. We're finally getting a group, and if ministers or people that would like to join this group, there's a group called the Alberta Coalition of Churches that are going to speak out against C9 and actually make people aware of what's going on at the federal level. And it's a microcosm of why we're leaving or wanting to leave. It's just an absolute litany of ridiculous bills that are taking power away from people and giving kingly power to the Liberals. So I think that's the much larger issue that we have to deal with, as a society, and the reason why all of this is happening, and possibly the reason why 20% of Canadians are starting to understand that this is no longer a functioning society.
Perfect, and I'm glad that you kind of segued into the Coalition of Churches for Alberta, because Monday, Wednesday, and Friday next week I have pastors lined up. I learned about this at church Sunday
Yeah.
because Bill 9 has become a very, very large concern in the churches as well. So we'll be covering this all next week as well, Mitch, to kind of get that coalition information out there, because I think it's important. And this is leading to a lot of support for the independence movement, because we can't normally change the House of Commons. We don't even have representation to get it done. In fact, some of our representation crosses the floor. So one way to get out from those kind of laws is to be independent. So Rachel, last week we got two big pieces of news. One, a date, October 19th. Okay, so there's a date set. And two, a heck of a lot more questions are going to be asked to Albertans, because Danielle Smith announced 5 policy questions and 4 constitutional questions. What were your thoughts when that announcement came out from the Premier?
The people that I know that are like highly skilled and experienced political organizers are very angry that this is happening. They actually warned me about this from the get-go. They said it has to be a single question on the ballot about Alberta independence, not anything else, because if you show other options, you're sort of muddying the waters. Some people will get confused. Some people will see it as, oh, there's other options, that we're going to do things. And so this is something that, like I said, the people that I know that know the most about political organizing have been really against and are very angry about from the beginning. I think that it is a very fair point. We've heard rumors that Danielle does not want to have this referendum and that she may likely not have it. I think what we've seen is a bit of a workaround in that she said, okay, I'll have the referendum if we have to have it, but I'm also going to add all these other things to it to make it seem like this isn't the only reason I'm calling the referendum. I'm actually calling the referendum because of this larger immigration issue. And I think she's, fairly correctly identified that as a big issue for Canadians and a very big issue for people in the independence movement. And so she's trying to appeal to them in that sense, saying, look, don't leave, don't vote to leave. We are going to do something about immigration. And I'm showing that I'm taking it very seriously because I'm hosting a whole referendum about it with all these questions. And we're just going to tack on the independence issue at the end. That way she can also kind of use hosting this referendum, and when she's pressured about it, she has the scapegoat of saying, well, we're gonna do this immigration referendum, and because we're doing a referendum anyways, sure, we'll put the independence question on there. So she kind of has created a little out for herself when she's asked about this, because there's some people in the independence movement who think that Danielle is playing like some 4D chess, and she is actually in favor of independence, and she just has to be really careful of how she goes around it. I do not agree with that take. I do not think that she's for independence. My husband was friends with her for a long time before she became premier. She's always been against it from the conversations that he's had with her. I do not think that she's changed her mind. And so that's what she's doing. That's her strategy. I think it's a pretty poor one, because I think anyone looking at this with a bit of common sense can understand these are not things that we need to have a referendum on. And if the argument is that, well, we're going to have a referendum on this, and then we're going to tack the independence question on at the end. What a waste of money. Like, what a waste of money to have a referendum for these immigration questions that we don't need to have a referendum on. We largely know how people feel about this. They're non-binding. So it's very likely that nothing will happen because of it. You could do this through like some sort of online polling, or you could do focus groups to get sort of the results of the questions that she's looking to have answered. And, Danielle Smith herself has always been very pro-immigration, which is the irony of it. This is the person who said that we want to have 1 million people in Red Deer, despite the people who live in Red Deer really not wanting, that large of a city. And so it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I think that it is not smart political strategy on her part. I don't really know anyone that's buying it, except for, this segment of the independence movement that does feel that Danielle Smith is very pro-independence, and she has to do these small little tricks to get things to go ahead. So I think on the political strategy side of things, I don't think it's very well done. And I think it is unfortunate for the independence movement, because I think, to be given our most fair shot, we really should be given and afford the opportunity to have a referendum on just a single question of independence. Now, there's a lot of people in the movement who are saying, let's not get discouraged. We're going to work with the cards that we have. And I think that's probably the right response. It is, another area in which we've been given an unfair playing field. But at the same time, we do have to handle the cards that we're dealt with. And I don't think it's very realistic to say, well, let's swap Danielle Smith out as party leader, because now we've just kick the ball down the road another year and a half as we go through a transitionary period where we try to get rid of a leader and replace her with someone else that's also going to allow us to have referendum the way that we want. So I don't think that there's much that we can do about it. And as I was thinking about it further, I would say the one positive of this announcement that she made is that maybe immigrants who are like currently living in Toronto and we're thinking about moving to Alberta will say, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just get a few less people moving here. That would be fine with me.
You echoed, Paula, yeah, you go ahead. You echoed a lot of the things that a lot of people have been saying, Adelaide and Gray on Monday, but yeah, Paula, what was your initial thought?
No, I agree, but I certainly agree with let's not have a tantrum. Let's just work with the cards that we've been dealt because life goes on. We have to. And so we've got to try and I think it'll just show the strength and the perseverance of the movement saying, okay, well, you're going to throw this at us? No problem. We will turn our limes into limeade, as I put it, because we haven't been given lemons. We've been given limes. So I think we really do need to work with what we've got and just trudge forward and say, okay, you're going to do this? No problem. We can adjust our own messaging to be clearer, to say that, no, this is still for our independence, our sovereignty movement, and that's what we want to continue with our messaging. And even if they're trying to muddy the waters, let's filter it. Let's just try and clear it out and keep our messaging strong and clear.
Now, Mitch, when it came out, I wasn't pleased. I lost my appetite. I sat down and wrote a post because from my perspective, the first 5 policy questions are moot. They don't need to be asked. She could do them yesterday. She doesn't need anybody's permission to do them. And she already knows where UCP stands. We had the AGM. It was very clear. You need to take this issue. So she already knows where her base stands. But what is she trying to do? Get support out of the NDPs? That's not going to happen. The 4 constitutional questions, they all had the preface of, if the other provinces want to work with us, should we do that? And assuming that we can, like assumptions and conditions of constitutional questions. Pointless, completely pointless. Just start those negotiations now. If you get support, you don't need an Alberta referendum for that. So none of these questions had an Alberta referendum requirement to them, so they're moot. What I do like, so there's 2 things that came out of it that I do like. One was, well, everybody's going to push for the vote yes message now. Vote yes. You're going to hear it out of her side and everybody's side. So that might be something that's helpful. Just go vote yes all the way through. And the second one was mainstream media or legacy media have now been highlighting that the constitutional portion of her questions are near impossible. You're not going to get support in Canada for these in the House or the Senate, which is a #1 reason why Alberta should separate. If these 4 things are important to you, Senate, elected, judicial, and input, if these things are really important to you, the only real path for Albertans is independence. So there is that little piece to it. So I think there's 2 positives, and that's it. She didn't need to do it now. She could have waited till after your numbers came in May to announce, okay, we're having a referendum. We're going to tack on some questions. But she did it in the middle of the petition period. And I think her real reason, a lot to what Rachel was saying, is to move that middle. Oh, she might fix it. If she can do these 9 things, then I will be okay with that for now, to move those middles that are undecided right now. So what was your initial reaction? And where are you at now, almost a week later?
Well, my initial reaction is we're going to get a vote, and that's the most important thing. So if somebody had told me a year ago that we're going to be able to collect signatures and we're going to have a vote on our question, which is the way this is looking, even if they muddy it, I think that that's something that we have to work with. I actually think it weakens the Premier. Actually, that all of those questions are redundant. I've said this publicly before. They've never opened the Constitution here in 120 years. They're definitely not going to open it on those. The questions are, rhetorical, all of them. As a matter of fact, it almost looks like, I don't know, to me, they're silly questions, all of them, except for ours. And it says in the Clarity Act that our question, because it's a constitutional question, has to be a standalone question. So it's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with further down the road. And who's to say? We might take it to court and say, it says in the Canadian Constitution that this has to be a standalone question. So we could possibly have a standalone question based on the situation we're actually in. So, there's lots of moving parts that we can explore. And the other thing is, I got to give credit to the people that are going to vote that they're smarter than that. If people are going to be looking for Alberta independence, we can say there's only one question on the ballot that you have to vote on, whatever number that question is. Just go there. Don't vote on the others, because I mean the fact that they're delaying that for 6 or 7 months just shows how indecisive or how weak the UCP government is. If they haven't got, if they're not led well enough, and I'm talking the whole group, to be able to handle this on their own and actually make a decision on their own that they know everybody in Alberta agrees on, what does that say about them? You know, and I mean, and this government, since they got elected, I mean, we did the Alberta Bill of Rights because nothing was going fast enough. The Alberta Bill of Rights turned out to be, you know, I mean, because they got their hands on it, kind of a big flop as far as we're concerned. Nobody's happy with it. We could have done way better. And moving forward, we're seeing this government has been a little bit of a disappointment in the fact that they haven't been able to accomplish many of the things that we thought that they were going to accomplish. But that being said, this is the biggest thing that they could have done for us. So either way, no matter how you look at this, they're giving us an opportunity to become independent, and that makes everything else moot point. So we're capable of working around the rules that they put in place. They're going to have to deal with, you know, with a large group of people in Alberta that feel, I mean, really, like this is the first time they're ever going to have a vote that actually matters. And we're seeing that in lineups. We're seeing people come in to vote with a look on their face like, oh my God, yeah, let's get this done because we can. And the other thing, you know, you're talking about polls. I am honestly telling you that I really believe that this election is going to be the most in the dark election that Canada's had in the last forever, since social media came, because there's a lot of people that don't want to be on a list. There's a lot of people that are driving an hour and a half so that nobody sees them sign this, but they're signing it. There's a lot of people out there that are, you know, that don't want to be targeted by the federal government because they're actually believing the situation that we're in, that we're going to be part of a C9 hate group, and the government is going to be able to identify us, our people, and punish them. So if they believe that that's the state of government in Alberta, a lot of those people are going to vote yes, but I'm never going to tell any pollster that they're going to vote yes. So I really believe that there's a real dark group of people out there that support this, and I know that there is because I'm out here every day. So I think they're going to go into this poll, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get 65%. And I wouldn't, you know, based on the polling, because you have to talk to so many people, I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer than that. But there's a very real chance that this could backfire on the UCP if they're actually not wanting an independence referendum to succeed. So I think there's a lot of moving parts here, but the most important thing that we have is the ability to do it. So now we have to make sure that we get a whole bunch of signatures because we're basically in campaign mode right now.
Absolutely. Okay. And I have Bruce Party on Friday, and Keith Wilson has commented online as well. Keith Wilson's position is Clarity Act doesn't say that this is not allowed. And I've had some private conversation with Bruce Party after he posted. He's concerned that the House is going to be able to push back and argue this because there's more than one question. But he has admitted to me privately, and we'll talk about it on Friday. The Clarity Act does not say you can't have a multi-question referendum at all. It doesn't even address that subject at all. And the question itself needs to be a clear question. It still is. One question mark and one question there. So that question can still stay, as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't matter if it's a separate ballot or all on one ballot. As long as the question is clear, which I believe it is, I think we're okay. So we'll be chatting some more to Party on this on Friday. But the truth is, it hasn't been tested. So I don't know if it was if this is a good time to try and test that argument out or not. Rachel, I know you have a really tight morning, so we'll come to you with the final question here for you. But do you see that? I'm not doing the 4D chess thing here, but by putting in immigration on a table like this, is Danielle Smith forcing the rest of Canada and the NDPs in Alberta to fight her on it and oppose it, which is going to create more support for independence? Because when you hear them all say, no, let's go ahead and give away free services, let's use our tax money on these people, they could be here one day and let's do that. For you to hear these people say that, is that going to actually drum up a lot more support for independence?
I don't know if it'll drum up a lot more support for independence because this is happening like in the fall, and it is still the winter. So it is quite a bit of time away when we're going to be actually having this referendum on these questions. And I mean, we're all going to be talking about it. It's going to be something that we're aware of, that we're working towards, and that we have to kind of deal with this workaround. But, you know, like the news cycle doesn't last very long. She announced this, we had our news cycle about it. Everyone's going to keep moving forward. There'll be other news stories. This is something that we might start to talk about again closer to the actual referendum. But all of Canada is not going to be having a reckoning on immigration, because Danielle Smith decided that in a few months from now, we're going to be having a referendum with many redundant questions on immigration, as you stated. I don't see that happening. There'll be a period for people to respond. We're probably seeing that, have already seen that, maybe still seeing a little bit of it now, and then maybe again in the fall we'll be talking about it. And I think, you know what, maybe you have a fair point there, that as people are talking about immigration, it will sort of get them fired up again about how bad of a problem it really is becoming in Canada, because it is absolutely out of control. And will that then have people say, okay, immigration is so bad, Alberta has to leave? Or will they then say, oh, immigration is so bad, but Danielle Smith is willing to do something about it? I'm not sure. I know that we have that soft middle that we've spoken about that we need to appeal to. And to Mitch's earlier point, I know a lot of establishment conservatives that would never publicly say I am for independence, who have told me privately that they are going to be voting yes, even if just to get a high vote count, so that we can go back and renegotiate with Ottawa for a better deal in Confederation, like Quebec has so much success doing. I've talked about this on my show. Some people think, oh, we shouldn't even really talk about that. But to me, a yes vote is a yes vote.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks a lot for your time today. I know you had to run. So if you have to run, just jump. But Mitch, I'm going to come to you on that one too. 2016, Trump was supposed to lose to Hillary. 98%. They had it on the Empire State Building and said it's going to happen. But all the I support him quietly vote came in, and then boom, he wins. So you're anticipating the same type of thing here, because we had a referendum on the equalization, and that was 63%. Every single one of those people that voted to end equalization must also understand that it failed under Canada, can't remove it, and the only path now forward to remove it will be independence. So maybe this is where your 65% number might be coming from, because everybody that voted on that one, this is their chance to actually get it done this time. Are you counting on that support, and you think it might even be higher?
I actually think that we have a very strong message. I don't think there's another side to this, and you know, we've been talking to people on ad nauseum and saying, hey, give us any reason why we should stay in this arrangement. And it's very, and the other thing, actually, I find this is really concerning, as far as I'm personally concerned, is it seems to me that the Liberal government is actually trying to push us out of here. If you can explain to me something else that they could do to help shove us out of Canada, please share it with me. They're absolutely not willing to negotiate with us. They're not willing to talk to us. They're shutting our industry down. Tax rates are between 43 and 53%. It just seems to me that there's one thing after another that's either not happening or happening, and none of it's in the favor of Alberta staying within Canada. I just don't understand. You know, the emotional part of it for some people is where it's at, but that emotion goes away soon if you can't afford to eat and raise your kids. So this is what I'm seeing out there. I'm seeing that young people are clearly not happy with what's going on. I really believe that that's going to be our largest support demographic. The people between 18 and 45 are really seeing that the opportunities that we had, I'm talking about myself growing up, are not there anymore. And we're going to give that back to people. And, you know, if people have this, and there's a misconception out there that we're getting away from Canada, and it's not really, that is actually the fact. But what people have to, you know, understand, that I understand very clearly, is that the people that are doing this to us are people. It's the people that are in power here that are actually doing all of this stuff to Albertans. They're regular people just like us. And we have to understand that, you know, is it fair for them to be able to take everything we earn and everything we borrow and use it for themselves, as compared to giving us the opportunity to use it for ourselves and make ourselves a better life? You know, we watched Mr. Carney very clearly put on a pair of skates and skate with the Oilers, and he looked pretty feeble to me. You know, as a former hockey player, he looked like he could barely skate. I would have been ghastly embarrassed to go out on the rink and look like he looked out there. And you know what? So it made it very clear to me that he's actually a person and a man. And you know what? Mr. Carney isn't entitled to Canada. And we have our share here, and away we go. We're going to take advantage of the opportunity to stand up for ourselves and say, look, this is our country too.
And I think you're right. Carney is one of the best spokespersons for this entire movement. So is Nenshi and a few others. But one more I want to highlight here would be Poilievre himself. He came out recently and said, man, none of my guys are even bringing this to me. It's not even on our radar. Really? Okay, 8.5 million. Let's correct that. 8.5 million Canadians think Alberta should leave, and it's not even on your radar at all. And now there's 25,000 or so voters in Edmonton who voted for Conservative government who just had their MP changed Liberal. And I don't think that they wanted that. In fact, what I think Poilievre and Matt has done for us is shown that the federal system's broken. Even if you vote a Conservative in, even if you put them in that seat, A, you might lose them, and two, they don't really care about your issue at all. Because for him to say none of his MPs have brought it to his attention at this stage says a lot to me. If you believe that there's a uniparty here and the federal system is broken and Alberta doesn't have representation, these are all validations of that mindset. What are your thoughts about that?
CPC MPs in Alberta should be ashamed of themselves. They should actually be ashamed of themselves. Where are they? Where have they been through COVID? Where have they been through everything? They're not. They're collecting a paycheck and they're doing nothing. They're sitting in the House, sitting in opposition. Nobody here ever sees them. You know, I consider myself to be a somewhat prominent political person in my MP's area. I've never met her. I've actually reached out to her and said, "Hey, let's have a public meeting. Let's have a public conversation. Let's see if we can work together for the benefit of Alberta." These people are federalists, obviously. They have a federal job, but do they represent their constituency? Really? I mean, we haven't heard anything about any of these wild bills. You know, they're actually voting for C9. So I don't understand where Mr. Poilievre is standing on this. You know what? We're going to go along to get along, no matter what, no matter how draconian these laws are. It's going to be fine. You know, and we're going to say, well, we weren't in power, so we're powerless. So if they're powerless, then what's the point of, you know, we should have another, like at least the Parti Québécois or the Bloc speaks for Quebecers. You know, our Conservatives here in Alberta, and we're unanimously Conservative for the most part, where are they? What are they talking about? All this stuff that's going on in Ottawa that are clearly going to hurt Albertans, clearly going to hurt Canadians, and they're okay with it apparently.
Yeah, and we had Stockwell Day on a couple of weeks ago now. He was on vacation. He jumped on, and he had said basically the same thing. Like, this is what their job is to represent, and Albertans are speaking loud, and they're not making a peep about it at all. And the CPC's roots are the Reform Party, which came out of Preston Manning out of the West. It turned into the Canadian Alliance, turned into the Conservative Party of Canada. So even the roots of the party is in the West. Stephen Harper was elected. But yet, not a peep. Not a peep. In fact, you have Stephen Harper with Jean Chrétien taking stage saying, hey, we need to unify. Like, there's a uniparty. And as our chat is highlighting here, the system's not broken. It's working exactly as designed, which is to repress the West and make sure that we don't have representation. I kind of echo what you just said there. Very disappointed in the MPs here in Alberta. They should be speaking up, at least bringing it forward and saying, look, you guys need to do something. My people are talking to us, my constituents are talking to us, and they're saying the important, but nothing. To actually say that none of his MPs came forward says everything to me. So I think there's just another reason why this movement should continue.
Well, and the whole thing is that now we're going to have to make it very clear to Albertans that voting Conservative federally is going to be of absolutely no benefit to them. You know, they have to literally double the amount of seats east of Ontario that we have in the West. So, you know, if they want to fix this system, you know what, they're very capable of fixing it. Danielle is putting constitutional questions on the ballot, knowing full well that none of this is ever going to happen. And you know, if there's a small percentage chance that she's actually doing that to help us out, well, that would be wonderful. We're here, we're happy to be here, and we're going to make sure that we work hard enough because we're not going to get another shot at this. They're going to absolutely make sure that this gets fixed. But the fact that you know these MPs are not doing anything. Like Mr. Poilievre is now an MP in Alberta. Mr. Poilievre had to move because he lost in Ontario. He continues down this path. He's not going to be very popular here. He's at the wrong place in Canada if he believes that he can actually get away with, just talking about things and not accomplishing things here in Alberta, because that's going to become very evident to everybody very quickly. The love affair is going to end very quickly here, because Albertans are definitely in a different situation in Ontario, and he now has to live here in order so that he can represent the party. So I would suggest that Mr. Poilievre represent the people of Alberta as well as the people, as well as Canadians.
Yeah, well, he's already made it clear he's not running in Alberta again, so he's already announced that. So he's already turned.
Oh, there you go. Well, maybe
he said, like, I'm not running.
Maybe he can see that he doesn't belong here, and you know what? I mean, he's showing that. He's showing that now. So, if he doesn't belong here, well, then at least we understand where we stand.
Yeah, and I welcomed that announcement, because I say, hey, look, Alberta, even the guy that you voted for, the leader of the party, is leaving you. Yes. He's not going to stick around. He just came here for this easy seat.
Exactly.
Yeah, he could have ran in Ontario. There's a few places. SDG, Stormont, Dundas, Glengarry would have been a good one for him to run in. Very strong support to stay in Ontario, but no, he's leaving. Cool. Mitch, I want to just shift to one more line of questions and then keep you for a little bit for our supporters, because I have a couple of private things. Yep. But 7,500 canvassers at least. What are you up to now?
I don't think we're quite there. Our 7,500 number was including people that we're trying to get approved. We're over 6,000, which is a lot. We're trying to get all of those people through the queue and with badges. So once we get to that, we'll see where we're at. But we're the biggest We're the biggest group of volunteers in political history, from what I understand. So what we're doing now is we're organizing to knock on doors. Basically, is what we're doing. We're going to go door to door in Alberta, and we're going to take our 6,000 people, and we're actually going to put them all to work. We've got our phone bank system set up. We'll be calling people. We'll be looking for support. We're going to be we're going to try to fill up. We have $150,000 or $160,000 left to raise. That we've been allotted in this phase of it. So we're going to work at that so that we can maximize spending on all stuff on trying to reach the people that are undecided with a message that we think is very clear and very much in their benefit. So we're working very hard to make sure that we get everybody working and all of you signing and working for us. And that's the way we're going to win. If we're going to win this, we have to get everybody working hard, nobody taking it for granted, everybody working to the last minute. Like a 1-1 hockey game in Game 7 in overtime, I think we better work as hard as we can every shift that we're out there to make sure that we're not the ones responsible for losing the game for us.
Excellent. And Carney is not on our side, so the Carney curse will not hurt us in this hockey game. Whenever he votes or cheers for somebody, they lose. So let's keep him off of our team. But I went to Ontario. I brought my badge and my papers with me, picked up signatures there. Down in Arizona, they have lineups happening there. And I like seeing that because Albertans are all over the place, and some of them can't get back in time for May because they're away. So it's great to see Stay for Alberta reaching out all over the place. Is there? Are you going to do some more of that?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have signing stations all over the southern U.S. Where Albertans are. We have people reaching out for us. Actually, they ran out of sheets to sign people in Yuma. They didn't have enough sheets.
Wonderful.
So that's interesting. So they're going to do that again. And you know what? The optics of it are excellent. So Albertans everywhere are thinking about independence. I know that Mr. Kenney wasn't very happy about the optics of that. But you know what? That's too bad, isn't it? So the way that we're seeing things is Alberta has a chance to do this. A lot of people, and that's a lot of wealthy Albertans that are there. So there are people that can afford to go there. So as a consequence to that, it shows you that people that are well off see what's going on as well. It's not just the people that are having a hard time that understand that Alberta is in a position to be able to do things better. So I just see that it's very encouraging for all of us, and that's what we need.
Yeah, Florida will be a great spot. I've had people reach out to me asking if Florida is going to be set up. I'm sure that's going to happen sometime soon. And I think it's actually wonderful because these are people who've left Alberta for the snow or whatever else, but they see the difference. They see what an independent U.S. is like in Arizona and Florida. They see the difference. And of course, they want to see something similar for them as well. Not a 51st state, but you get to be sovereign. So I like that optics as well. And of course, if Jason Kenney's upset, it's probably the right thing for you guys. He's been doing a lot. He's like one of the number one Alberta-based supporters for independence, whether he realizes it or not. Because every time he squawks and says we need to stay under the current system that doesn't work for you guys, it helps. It helps a lot.
Who is more divisive than Jason Kenney? Like, of any premiers in Canada and Canadian history, for Alberta, who was more divisive than Jason Kenney? What was more divisive than COVID? Really, and COVID basically kickstarted this whole movement. So people finally understood at COVID that well, this is a preview of what's going to happen, and we're not happy about that. And that definitely got me involved. I mean, COVID woke me up. COVID actually gave me a real hard awakening. A rude awakening would be the better way to put it, as to what's actually happening. And to tell you the honest to God truth, I was stunned. I was absolutely shocked at what I'm seeing. I'm still shocked at what I'm seeing. I cannot believe that Albertans and Canadians don't see very clearly what's coming and what's going on. Never having been political up until basically 2021, I never understood what's happening here. I never understood that this could happen here. And so, we've been under this veil of Alberta, Canada's the greatest place in the world to live. But every event that I go to that people from communist countries attend, they take the opportunity to walk up to me, a gentleman from Cuba a few nights ago, a lady from Eastern Europe last night, and said, "You're absolutely correct. We live this. We're seeing it happen in lifetime. We can't believe it's happening. And here we are, moving to Canada thinking that we're never going to see this again. And here they are. And it's very clear to them. They said, you know what, if I could speak English better in both cases, I would be happy to get up here and say, hey, guys, this is legitimately real. This is happening, and pay attention, or it's going to be too late at some point.
I started to first hear those calls from people like that during the convoy. So when they saw what happened in Ottawa, they were coming out and say, hey guys, like, pay attention. This is exactly how this slippery slope works. And we just left it. I can't believe it's happening here. So for the last 4 years or so, that message across Canada has been very, very loud, but amplified now in Alberta because you have the opportunity to stop it and get out from it. And they see that as a great opportunity, especially when you see someone from like Poland with sovereignty or sovereignties, their movement. But you have Thomas Lusakic, who's obviously a racist, because when Daniel Smith talked about the referendum questions, the first thing he posted was, stop going after the immigrants. They're the ones that serves you coffee at Timmy's. Yeah. Like, what a comment to make publicly, and a very racist one too. So he's probably right up there with Jason Kenney on helping people make a decision on which way they're going to go on this one. So just before we jump to the public side, is there anything else you want to mention? Are you looking for more canvassers? Do you need more volunteers for the phone bank? What kind of help do you need at this stage from the public?
We need everyone to help. Whatever you can do to help. StayFreeAlberta.com is where you go to sign up. It's all free. We need as many canvassers as we can get. We need boots on the ground. We need people to call people. We need people to talk to people. This is a conversation this is a fight that's going to be one conversation at a time from people that people trust. So I take opportunity when I say things at my events that I host, to show people that there's other people out there, prominent people, that are thinking the same thing that we're thinking, so that it doesn't reflect just on us, and people don't look at us like we're tin hatters. But the conversations that we can have today, and the conversations that we have in town halls right now, are a lot harsher, a lot more realistic than conversations that we could have had even 6 or 8 weeks ago. So people are starting to understand that, communism is not a word that we can't banter about here, that Mr. Poilievre said that we're heading towards socialism very clearly in many of his posts. So if he sees it, why is he not doing anything about it? Why are we not talking about it roundly with everybody? And why are conservative MPs not out there saying, hey, this is a definite possibility if this continues to go down the way this is going? And I mean, to add to our MLAs, we have to, some of them should possibly get involved with this if they see what's happening and they believe it. And hopefully, before this is all said and done, our government is going to come up with a secession plan that's going to make it seamless for Albertans so they understand that this is a possibility and that they're going to do what they should do as elected officials based on the fact that we're going to have the opportunity to leave Canada. And if that's the case, it's their responsibility to make sure that the transition is smooth. And maybe they could get involved, at that level to show Albertans that they're actually preparing to do this should the vote go our way.
Excellent.
I was going to say, Mitch, can you just answer this question? Because I know there's a lot of care involved for it. Are you guys going into nursing homes? My mom wants to sign. I know you guys have to be very careful with regards to this particular issue. Can you explain to the public why?
If there's people out there that want to sign, just send it to Stay Free Alberta. We will send a canvasser to their room, to their door. Period. We will send a canvasser to you. We will actually have someone go to you or to the nursing home or wherever you are. If you want to sign, just let us know. Send a text or email. Send an email to Stay Free Alberta, and we will go find you and we will actually help you sign or get you to sign.
Yeah, I had someone come up to me during one of my events, which is independent from you guys, and they said Thomas Wasakic went to 5 nursing homes in Drayton Valley, told the people there that they'll lose their CPP if they don't sign his petition. So now a lot of them actually believe that and they signed. So the question was, can you guys go in there and have conversations, help them understand that first wasn't true, and maybe have a conversation with them, a small presentation. But the first step is reach out and acknowledge that you want to sign, and you will come to them, and then maybe have some conversations or open presentations.
And maybe we'll tell them exactly what we're planning to do and double the pension. How about that? So if, instead of using that as a talking point to not have them support us in a free and independent Alberta, we could match the CPP contribution for them.
Yeah, and there's another thing that says you can't sign because you signed Lusakic's. You can't sign this one. Everybody can sign this one. So even if you signed the previous one, you can sign this one.
Yes, and Mr. Lukaszik's petition was a policy petition. This is a constitutional one. So just understand the difference between those two petitions is large. This one actually has the ability to open the Canadian Constitution. The other one is basically the same as the equalization question. It could lead. It will lead to nothing because it cannot lead to anything.
Excellent. So, Mitch, hang on for a second because we've got another 10 minutes or so. We'll still have your time at Edmonton.
I'll wait for that.
Excellent. So we'll be right with you. Cheers.
All right, good.
All right, public. Thank you a lot. Okay, hour 22. We had a good chunk with Rachel and Mitch. A lot of good information. Nobody's buying the story about the pen bullet. Absolutely not. And you shouldn't have done it anyways, even if it was a pen bullet. That's ridiculous. Mitch is going to be firm on that. He's going to stand up for his team and make sure that the message is very clear. Don't do this. It's not going to be good for you. Charges will be coming. Stay away from canvassers. It's a $25,000 fine if you interfere in any way, shape, or form and get found guilty of that. So stop doing that. And just get yourself ready for the campaign. If you don't think this is something that should happen, get ready with your no campaign.
Yeah.
Go have some town halls, have conversations, do it the right way, the democratic way.
Yeah, go ahead and share the information on why it would be more beneficial for Alberta to stay within Canada.
I'm still waiting for it. So
I'd
send
love
me a
to hear it.
Give
I'd
me a
love
reason.
to hear it.
I haven't heard it yet. There's no benefits to staying in Canada. This is why they're being the way they are. But yeah, if you have one, send it to us. We're still waiting. And no, the Olympics is no longer a benefit. They lose and they cheat. So let's go do our own thing, Alberta, for the next one.
But otherwise, everyone, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the crowd that's in locals. We'll be with you shortly. But thanks for joining us. And hopefully tomorrow I will be less sniffy and croaky. Yeah.
Remember, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. It all helps get the message out. A lot of the things that Mitch shared and Rachel shared is very important, especially around Danielle Smith and her referendum questions. But make sure you go to the Levine Show as well if you want to join us with the extended interview. This is where we go private and we are no longer public, and we can have conversations that we can't have public. So folks, have yourself a wonderful day. Take care of yourself and each other. Love you all very much. God bless.